Hey guys, thanks for tuning into Long Island Board Gaming, and this is a special battle report with myself versus MrMalorian. So this was a post-Brawler Bash game, so after round 5, which is really like after 7 or 8 games for the two of us because we each played a couple practice games the night before, or MrMalorian did the doubles tournament. So we had played a lot of games at this point, so take everything with a grain of salt because we had to kind of push the game along. Also, due to the fact that the store wasn't going to be open all night like it was the previous 2 nights until like 1 a.m. So this is going to be a fun game. So I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get on into it. So before Malorian even rolls up for his spells, he has to roll up to see what lore he even gets, and he gets Shadow, so he walks away with Mystifying Miasma and Enfeebling Foe, I believe, if I remember correctly. And for myself, I got Warp Lightning for my Engineers, Curse of the Horn Rat for my Gracier, along with Wither, Vermintide, and Plague. And here's the battlefield. So obviously I usually have an advantage of getting my important stuff where I want it, when I want it. And this was a perfect example because he had like no drops. So we have the three troll hordes ahead. And the 3 little bunker units, and then the Savage Orcs all the way over to the left. And you can actually see that because of that, I put all my rat darts down last. I usually put them down first, but I had enough slaves and other shit that I was able to put down my rat darts left and have them just deal with the frenzied Savage Orcs the whole way through. The Hell Pit Abominations are over to the right because that big blue horde are the River Trolls, which is -1 to hit them. So the Hell Pits have a 1/3 chance of using weapon skill. Otherwise, they just use automatic hits, which is nice. So I don't have to worry about rolling. So that's why they are there. And you can see that there's some hills and terrain here. There's a forest in both corners. The terrain slowly disappears for 2 reasons. It just messes with Malorian's troll hordes, but also the TOs and whatnot were cleaning up and didn't even realize we were still playing. And over here, this is just a fun little picture to show you that the rat darts are going to have a fun time with the frenzied Savage Orcs. So we actually started this game before round 5 ended, so you can see that there's still people playing in the background. So obviously, MrMalorian gets first turn because he gets the +1 to go first, and he moves everything up 12 inches, everything deployed on the line, and then just ran forward at max speed. And that's the end of his turn. So his guys have nothing to shoot with, his archers and his magic. I don't believe anything happened. So Hell Pit goes forward, one makes a charge, the other does not. Slaves go forward, and the Doom Wheel goes forward. So I didn't deploy my stuff sideways, which was a mistake because we're kind of speeding. Usually you get an extra inch, but either way, I was able to get into the River Trolls, which was a little bit of a dilemma because I deployed on the line, he deployed on the line, he marched up 12 inches. I rolled 12 inches for a charge, and then there was still like a quarter of an inch, half of an inch in between us, so we both shared that our intentions were to move up 12 and deploy on the line, and even without my pivot that I didn't have, he still gave me the charge, which I was glad to accept, and he was glad to give because he wants his stuff in combat anyway, so we kind of sped that along. And yeah, so the one Hell Pit's taking up the rear. So during shooting, I was able to take out 5 trolls. You can see in that middle horde, which is awesome. I'm not sure what I rolled up for the bell or other spells, but that was mostly what happened here. The lightning cannon also was able to help shoot out some trolls too. The Doom Wheel didn't roll very well. I don't believe I misfired. I rolled either a 2 or 4, and after regens and everything, I wasn't able to do any wounds, which was upsetting. So for MrMalorian's turn 2, he goes ahead and charges into my Warp Fire Thrower, which is fine. I get a nice little counter shot. I kill 2 trolls, but I'm scared as hell. And this was the issue that we were talking about all weekend, because we're like, if we get to a game, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I feel like I'm already in a pretty good position, but there's just so many of these trolls. I'm kind of afraid of what's going to happen. My Flaming Banner and Lord on Bonebreaker are in the freaking Storm Vermin unit, so we're going to go ahead and react in my turn, which is great, so that the fact that I have that Warp Fire Thrower there saves me a little bit. This way I have a turn to react, but still, I don't know. It's scary as hell when you have all those trolls, but at least I'm keeping them far away. Over here, the trolls charge the slaves. The engineer, you can see, is just hanging out in the forest. He fired his Doom Rocket the first turn, but it didn't really do anything. And his archers and bunker unit with the BSB and caster are chilling all the way back there. So he does move the one unit close enough so that some fanatics pop out. So if you look at the unit behind the trolls, he sets them up so they are on the left of the unit and they come through a nice diagonal, hitting the trolls but also hitting the Hell Pit Abomination, popping out right here. So when it's time for me to come and hit the trolls, I'm going to be walking through some freaking fanatics. Here is the grind with the slaves. And here, as expected, the trolls kill the friggin' warp by thrower. I just pulled it off the table, and he's now in the bell unit. So, my reaction is to, of course, flank charge these guys with the flaming banner, so I'm pretty excited for that. I should be able to crush that unit of trolls. And the engineer is just running up over here. He's not angled correctly. This was bad angling. I should have done it so I exposed more of my front, but it looks like it would be a flank charge if he overran. So I'm able to get the Hell Pit over here and maximize without getting hit by any fanatics, which is nice. Also, the gutter runners don't show up, which is upsetting because the fanatics are out. Now I want to start poison stinging that bunker unit with the BSB and the general. And over here, some well-placed rat darts will keep the savage orcs busy for a little while. There's an option that he might shoot them with those archers, but yeah, so hopefully he addresses in his video, and this is a question for you, MrMalorian, that building there, that little watchtower, did you think about using it? Because if we had put the savage orcs in there, they would have maybe popped out on the other side if, you know, facing the bell unit. This way they could get into some combat and avoid the giant rats. But also the archers could have been able to go into the building and shoot down those giant rats too. But like I said, we were in a rush, but that might have been another way to get those guys closer to the battle. So over here I get a free Scorch, which is awesome. So that's going to kill 5 of these guys. And to make things worse, I got Wither off onto these trolls, so they're toughness 3 now. And here is what goes down, the big fight. Malorian had one goal, and that goal was to knock out the Greyseer. He was going to direct all of his attacks against the Greyseer. He didn't care about this unit, or at least this is the sense I got. He didn't care about this unit. He wanted him to kill some clan rats, kill some storm vermin, but really focus down the Greyseer. So he takes a whole bunch of attacks, not all of them, but a whole bunch of them, attacks him at the Greyseer, and he whiffs really, really bad. And the wounds that do get through, I end up ward saving. So I think he takes a wound or 2, not the 3rd wound. So he was a little upset about that, which I could understand. So he decided that if he could have redone it, he would have taken every single attack and just put it on the Greyseer, every attack that he could have. But that was the plan, because if the Greyseer was dead, the slaves on the other side of the battlefield would have had no way of passing their leadership test with leadership 10. That would be leadership 5, and the plan was to then just crush the slaves and come through and whack up the back of the storm vermin and whatnot. So, but shit happens, so I am able to kill a whole bunch of them with the flaming banner, and yeah, so a bunch of the clan rats die, and it ends up looking like this after they break and I chase them down. And a bunch of clan rats, meaning like just about all of them. And since the Greyseer is still alive, I still have I don't even have steadfast. These guys just end up passing, which is odd. I don't know why these guys passed. They must have rolled really good. Man, it takes 2 hell pits to deal with this one troll horde. So I finally lose the first one. Some wounds were allocated there, and the second one is still doing all right. He's fighting, and some trolls are dying, but it's pretty nasty. This hell pit does not come back alive. The one to the right does take a wound though. And giant rats pop up from where the first one was. Again, I don't know why I did some really bad redirecting. So these guys should probably be facing straight on, or maybe another direction. I don't know. It's just, I don't know what I was thinking. So over here for Orc Turn 3, the Savage Orcs go ahead and take the bait, and they're going to be charging those rat darts. Over here, one of the fanatics moves 3 and doesn't issue a wound, which is nice. I don't think he rolled very high, but either way I regened it. But in the magic phase, however, he does get one of his hex spells off. I forget which one, but I think I'm at -1 strength at this point. So over here, the rat darts go ahead and one gets crushed, and the other one, it wasn't placed very well on my behalf. It ends up panicking, so he doesn't actually run into them, but he is chasing them, which I'm completely happy with. Over here, in this combat, the slaves are dead. They pop, and deal some damage to the trolls. Not too much, but it does end up killing the engineer that's nearby, and the trolls combat reform to face the back of the storm vermin. So in Skaven Turn 3, I decided to go clean up some points and charge those archers over there to forget that there's fanatics in there. Usually when I play Orcs and Goblins, it's Chris and he only has one unit of fanatics, but I'm going to be running through these guys. So he doesn't hit me, which is good for him, because now I'm going to pass through them and take all sorts of wounds. So I get in there with about a third of the unit dead from that, so I have about half of them left entirely from the start, but at least they're going to go in there and fight some goblins. So that big die right there, that's the turn die, which is now on the floor because the bell decides to destroy the tower there. And those 4 dice there, that's 6, a 6, a 6, and a 5. That's the roll on how many goblins I decide to kill after getting the dreaded 13th off, which completely kills the bunker unit and the BSB and the general, which kind of seals the deal in this game. So, yep. And all those goblins turned into clam rats. So, hooray! We're still fighting over here. We got 11 trolls, one with 2 wounds on it already, and I've already suffered 2 wounds, so it's a bit of a grind. Looks like we move on to Orcs and Goblins turn 4. These guys are able to turn around and face the battle. These trolls move up, or stumble forward I should say, without a general BSB. There's no controlling them. And my Storm Vermin last turn did reform. Not sure I had a picture of that, but we're ready to fight those trolls. Also, I gotta admit the weapon swaps on the trolls really made the unit look a lot better since they're not all holding that dwarven statue, so you can see that there's some weapons mixed in there. And the Hellpit finally dies over here, and he does not come back to life. So we head into Skaven Turn 4, and the Storm Vermin charge into the trolls, which will make easy work of them with the Flaming Banner. You can see that my clan rats there to the left, the ones that are the unit of 6, they're running because I think they fled from shooting from the Night Goblins, or maybe a Fanatic hit them, not sure. And you can see my Bell unit's just kind of taking up the rear, not sure what I'm going to do with them right now, because the Savage Orcs will soon be approaching. I take my last Rat Dart and throw it at the Savage Orcs, and I also get a Scourge off, which is nice, killing a few of them. I'm not sure what other spells I got off, but I do kill about 3 trolls and put a wound on a 4th, but it's not enough wounds. He actually ends up doing a whole bunch back to my Storm Vermin, which is expected, but he does not break, which is, alright. I can deal with the rest of them next turn. So we have a Fanatic running around, dealing some damage in the backfield during Orc Turn 5. And over here you can see we're still grinding away on the trolls. So with no magic and only shitty shooting, the turn comes back over here to Skaven Turn 5. I turned the bell around. I have my BSB and 2 engineers in there along with the Gracier and the bell. And we're facing the Savage Orcs now because there's a very, very, very good chance he's going to get a charge in them and probably kill the bell. I mean, Choppas, with all those attacks, can bring the bell down, so he can scoop up a whole bunch of points there. He can kill the BSB and the clan rats and the engineers if he decides to focus down the heroes. So there's a chance for a whole bunch of heroes to get scooped up here. And if you also see, if he does that and destroys everything, because the bell needs to be dead for the unit to be back to being susceptible to psychology, if he actually kills the bell, kills the guys, and overruns, and somehow hits the freaking Storm Vermin in the back, it would be bad. I would go from winning this game to losing this game. Over here, nothing's really going on this side of the board. The gutter runners sling the rest of the unit of archers back here and kill them. And I finally grind through the rest of those trolls with like 10 guys left and the bone breaker. So I chase them down and get the points for them, which is beautiful. And here is the board. It's a mess right now. So we're going into turn 6, and MrMalorian needs to roll like a 4 or a 5 to charge the bell and just, scoop up the points for them. He won't get anything on an overrun, I'm pretty sure, but it was kind of nail biting. So we have a whole bunch of people there, myself, Anthony, and Chris, and Once Bitten, and a few other guys just watching. And Malorian, with his silly grin, shakes a dice in his hand, puts them down on the table, and he stares at us all and laughs and says he's going to crush us and kill all the rats, and he rolls 2 snake eyes. And we all just started hysterically laughing, even him, because there was this huge epic moment where it was going to be a slaughter, and he has his hands over the dice, and he's like, "What roll did I need to make? This roll, right?" And he shows us the two ones. It was perfect. But with that being said, the Savage Orcs do not make it, and in my turn 6, nothing really happens. So it was a good game, though, a fun game. Not a good showing, though, for the Orcs and Goblins, because Malorian's list, as you know, is kind of funky. There's no level 4. There's an interesting general with the wizarding hat. But nonetheless, it was fun. It was a good game. I'm sure we'll get to do this again next year. And so one of the things that me and Mr. Malorian were talking about was instead of doing the doubles next year, maybe we'll get up there and do a small YouTube battle reporters like tournament between myself, Chris, him, Once Bitten, Anthony, who else was there? Tuna, Sandwichify, the Warriors Vault, Shimmer Gloom. So any of those guys that do bat reps or any new people since then that jump on board, do a small little tournament. That'd be pretty fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed this YouTuber versus YouTuber game. And stay tuned for some more bat reps. We'll get a game 1 up soon. And also stay tuned for, keep an eye out for Malorian's version of this game. So, hope you guys enjoyed. See you in the next video.